Hello and welcome back to Football Kentron, the only English-only podcast dedicated to Armenian football. I am your host Adam, and I am joined here by the boys, Armen and Charens. How are you doing, gentlemen, on this fine Sunday
Yeah,
morning slash
baby.
afternoon slash evening?
Or whenever you listen to this.
Well, I mean, it's Sunday right now.
Pretty much.
I
All
got you.
right. So we have a special episode today. This is going to be Future Stars of Armenian Football Part 3, or Yerek.
Yep.
And you know what? Our episodes are normally long, so let's just jump right into it. So there's been a lot of big transfers and rumors happening, but we're going to save them for later because we have something very special for you. If you're anxious to know about those transfers and can't wait for the next episode, I don't know what to tell you. Fast forward in life or something. But we will be posting anything important or relevant on our social media. So if you don't already, please follow us on Twitter, on Instagram. We have a YouTube channel where we post everything. Go ahead and press subscribe. And yeah, now on to the Future Stars of Armenian Football. So this is our, for those who don't know, scouting series where we discuss a handful of select individuals that we believe are going to be future stars.
Fancy language.
So before we move on to this third iteration, let's go ahead and see and the previous players that we have discussed on FK Future Stars and where they are now. Let's start with episode 1. How about Armen? Walk us through the players from episode 1. Where are they now?
A long time ago, Adam. Episode 1, we had featuring players like Vahan Petrosyan, who by now everyone who has been listening to us and their mom knows what to say about Vahan. He's already a national team player. He's scored at the national team. He grew up in Gyumri, son of Vatan Petrosyan, a great coach, very smart. Yeah, from there he went from Shirak Gyumri at his hometown to Slovakia, where he spent around 4 years at Shilina, that is one of the biggest teams in Slovakia. He grew up, he really grew, like he was scrawny, tiny, and he's now all muscle, all quality, all hustle. He became a record breaker, goals, assists, anything you want, and just now made a relatively big money move to Poland for the Slovak league. It was a very big money. And of course, as I mentioned, his first senior national team goal against Sweden. Then we have Artem Avantisian from Russia that wanted to play for us. So he went from CSKA Moscow Academy, where he grew up, and signed for Ararat Armenia. And by now, a couple years later, fast forward, he is a stellar character in the APL. Key starter for what looks to be yet another championship for Ararat Armenia. And of course, also senior national team debut. And not to our surprise, he has been being praised by Joaquin Caparros, national team coach. So a lot more from Artem Avanesyan. Then we have Garem Melkonian, who was already shining at Armenian youth national teams. Urartu Academy product, one of the best in the last couple years. He has had a couple of great performances for the national team over the friendly window against Croatia and Sweden. Again, not to our surprise, but glad that everyone saw it too once he got called up. Then, arguably, kind of a frustrating player because he has had some bad luck because he had to leave Kansas Kapan because of geopolitical stuff. Then he was bought and benched by APL leaders FCAA at Armenia. He had a great spell in Slovakia, as you know. And Armen is now currently in talks with different European clubs because he reportedly wants more playing time and knows he's good enough. We do know he's good enough too. So hopefully you'll be hearing from him and his move sometime soon. From Future Stars, Football Kentron Future Stars Series 1, there are 3 players that haven't yet broke through. The two first come from LA, your neck of the woods, Aram. Diran Bebekyan from LA Galaxy, and Daron Iskenderian from Barcelona Academy in Arizona. And the third player is Herman Kurvasyan, that has just been having a new sponsorship, so maybe a move for him too.
Yeah, let's touch
Hopefully.
on these three for a second, just to provide a little bit more context to the listeners. So Didon went back to UC Santa Barbara to play college, and from what I understand, he had a decent season. I don't know if he ended up putting his name into the MLS draft, but he wasn't selected. I don't think he put his name in. I'm not sure. I tried to figure it out, but I couldn't. But we don't know what's going to happen with him. Daron Iskandarian.
He's definitely good enough to go pro, but
Yes.
as
Yeah.
we always say, it's not always only about talent.
Yeah, that's
so-
that's a personal choice. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? He has the personality.
A lot
for
of
it.
factors. Yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
external factors come at play too. It's not just about him.
And then next up, Daron Iskandarian. He is at FC Barcelona Academy, where we've touched on this before, that all of their players have either gone professional, domestically or abroad. And recently, they've made they've sent several players to the Bundesliga recently, or they get full college scholarships. We don't know which way
He's the
he's going to
youngest
go.
one.
He's the youngest one, and he's also yet to have his guaranteed trial at La Masia, which every Barcelona AZ player is guaranteed a trial for FC Barcelona. He hasn't had that yet, so we'll see what happens there.
give
He's
him
still
time.
very young.
Yeah.
And then Herman, you already touched on that. I think give him 1 or 2 more years. I think he's going to be similar to Sacco. And I know we say this about everyone that plays in Germany, but it's true.
and bro, and we have had some great news coming of a young player that made that spent several years in German lower tier. So we will talk about this particular incognito player in our next episode. You probably know about him because of social media and stuff.
Also, Herman just recently got he signed with 8G Partners as well, so maybe that's a potential.
No sponsorship, no partnership, no agents. So give him time.
There's a lot going on. So next up is our batch number 2 from our Football Kentron Future stars. Chadens, walk us through this very amazing list of players that we put together and where they are now.
Yeah, if you look at the list, we've got more players in this one who have and are continuing of their professional careers. Edward Spretsian starts off. He's our youngest Armenian national team player to play in the UEFA Champions League group stage. 1 year, probably, maybe even more than 1 year, right? We're saying this right before the call.
It was over 1
year.
Yeah, I think he was
over
19.
1 year.
Yeah,
that's
1
big.
year and 1 month older.
So 1 month. So over a year younger than Mkhitaryan when he made his debut at 21 years old. He's absolutely bossing it at the Russian Premier League. Krasnodar is sitting 3rd, I believe, currently, or 4th.
I think it's
so it's
5th or
5th.
6th.
Okay.
No, I think
it's 5th. I think
Weird,
it's somewhere there, top 5.
It's not
They're
important.
just shy. They're just shy of European cups, but they're gonna fight for it, and I'm optimistic.
In terms of his national team debut, he's already made it, and he's made it with a goal, and he made MVP in 30 minutes, and he's basically a starter for our national team. Next up is Girard Chagoyan, senior national team debut again, and great performances with the March window. He's a U21 vice captain. APL goal of the year. He scored in May, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And he's got interest from all over Europe. Now, that did not happen yet, but hopefully it's solid very soon, and he gets the move. Pavel Gorelov, he got the Armenian U21 call-up. He's currently in preseason training with Kisvarda, which is a Hungarian first division team. He's the B team captain, and Kisvarda is getting in Europe. They're putting all their efforts and they're going to make it. Gorman Velyan, he signed his professional contract with Nantes. First team debut for the French Cup was last month or at the beginning of the month, increasingly featuring in Nantes bench for Ligue 1 games. He still did not feature, but hopefully that'll be soon. Hrant Levon Mamedova Yeranosyan, Grant Ranos, in simply put, Bayern B starter and top goal scorer from midfield position, by the way, played UEFA Youth League and had preseason with the first team. This is good in the level of the club that he is in. Bayern is a big team, so as he is. Eric Simonian, Armenian U19 starter, and he's a key member of the historic team that made elite round, which is equivalent to senior national team Euro group stage in a sense. There's one player left in this list that we made for the part 2 of the series is Varujan Hovhannisyan. He still has not broken through yet. He's in Rayo Vallecano. Hopefully his time will be soon.
Yeah. So this was our second batch of players were an amazing batch. Hard to top that one, and they're all
talk about, of course, success.
Yeah, they're going places. They're doing great. Varuj, who we keep in touch with on a regular basis, he is doing well. He's training. He's playing. We feel confident that he will break through at some point. Armen, what's this next part that you have here? I don't know what this means, so you read it.
I mean, we're going to talk about, there are, like, sometimes we talk about other players that are not necessarily youth, like they don't fit in youth categories.
Because they're not youth. They're like
exactly
in their mid-20s.
We're talking about 23, 24 players that are neither like adults nor teenagers. They're at that transition, 23, 24 players year old. Especially the case would be for Girard Markarian and David Terterian, which I remember we mentioned several times as the semester before their national team debuts. For both of them, coincidentally, both of them also fullbacks. One is right back and the other one is a left back. So, add to all of this premonitions that are the Future Stars series, the debuts of our boys, Girard Markarian and David Terterian for national team. They are now basically national team starters, despite there's Gamo Hovhannisyan and stuff. These guys are the starters, and they are. So basically, all things considered, you have every reason you may need potentially to watch out for today's list of players that we will be introducing to you, that consists basically of a healthy balance. I love balance. I'm a Libra, by the way, in case you wondered. 3 homegrown players from Armenia and 3 diaspora-grown players. So watch out, and here comes Football Kentron Future Stars of Armenia, batch 3.
All right, so we are starting off with a very, very exciting domestic talent. His name is Mikayel Mirzoyan. He was born in 2001, and he currently plays for Bekma and Armenia under-21. He's an all-around creative box central midfielder. He's like ability on the ball is amazing, and I know that we have had several other young Armenian players that can do this. One being Girard Shahoyan, but his ball control and technique is unreal. He is,
and Misha is a center mid, so it's different.
His ability to carry the ball forward is amazing. He is an Urartu Academy product that made the switch to Bekma in 2019, as most do while they're serving in the military. He is currently Beckma's top goal scorer and assister by far. In this APL season, he has 3 goals and 5 assists in 1,430 minutes. That's a coefficient of 1 goal participation per 180 minutes at a team that's in bottom of the table, because Beckman is, of course, all the youth players. So we don't really expect them to like challenge for the league. But considering where they are in the table and their performances, that's insane. During his time with the under-19s, he had 1 goal in 170 minutes, about 5 games or so. And for the under-21s, he has 2 goals and 1 assist in 545 minutes, which is about 7 games or so. And he has a goal participation coefficient of 1 goal per 182 minutes. So he has a very similar conversion rate at the club level that he does on the international level. He follows us on social media also, so if you're listening, hi Misha, we're here, we love you. And he is one that we are really, really looking forward to, considering that in the central midfield area, we are kind of lacking that player. And I will open this now up for discussion for the rest of the group. We have seen players, very creative players, like Eric Aghajanyan, like Henrik Mkhitaryan, being tried out in that central midfield role at the senior level, and it hasn't really worked out, or hasn't had the type of work product that we would have liked to see. Now, Mikayel Mirzoyan is that type of player that can fulfill that role for years to come. What are your thoughts on him as a player, and where do you think he can go? I'll start with you, Armin.
I think he's ready. I mean, I think his national team ready, senior national team. But the thing is, on the one hand, we do have a lot of competition for that spot. On the other hand, even if he's younger than most and by far, sometimes he's better because he's already basically, I would say, per my estimations, kind of joking, but seriously though, with top 20 league quality, if not top 15 at least already. And he has the potential to be with a top 5 league player in less than 5 years even. That being said, I know Caparrós is a specialist on this, so he's not going to try any funny things with him, especially considering how good this kid is. He's going to take him slowly, carefully. I don't think he's going to leave the U21 national team before his time. I think he's going to complete his period at the U21 alongside, say, Giro Sharoyan, and then move to the national team. On a parallel note, you mentioned Narek Grigoryan at central mid. I think he was good. I like what
we're not going to argue this right now.
Okay. But I'm just saying, of course, everyone knows how I feel about Mkhitaryan. But back to Misha Mirzoyan, he's amazing.
My point was it's his natural position, so he should be the natural pick to play that type of role, that number.
I wouldn't rush him
type role.
He's definitely ready. He's definitely ready. He's definitely more than good enough to be even the national team starters for most games even. But I don't want to rush him. I want him to get at physical top shape, which in Armenia is in the APL is an issue with a capital I. So I trust Caparrós and the physiotherapist Pablo.
There seems to be a growing trend, which I like, of youth players bouncing between senior national team and their youth national teams. Same. We spoke about Eric Simonian previously, who had the opportunity to train with the senior national team. We've had Giro Sharoyan. We've had Narek Grigoryan, who we'll discuss in this episode. And it's a good trend, and I think it is maybe during the times that the under-21s don't have a match and the senior national teams have a match, it would be a really good idea to have him training with the senior national team. Definitely. Not necessarily in the match day squad, but even though I agree he's totally good enough to play start slowly, give him that introduction like we did for everyone else.
Yep.
Chadens, your thoughts on Mikayel Mirzoyan?
We need home talent, local talent. So this is exciting. We don't always, when we look for young stars, we always think of abroad and getting players outside or looking players from outside of Armenia. This one's going to be good.
Yeah, and super excited. I think if we look at who we have in terms of personnel in that central midfield role that Mikayel Mirzoyan would directly compete with, it would be Gare Muradyan, it would be Udo,
yeah,
it would be
Udo, Spertian maybe.
but Svetsan's
It's good. There needs to be competition.
Is
I
the
agree.
creative
100%.
type of central mid.
But we've always discussed, and I'm fairly certain Kaparos feels the same, that Spertian is going to be more advanced role
I hope so.
in the midfield.
Hopefully, yeah. But I would say he would compete with Udo, maybe the likes of Aghajanyan, Armenian National from FCAA. There's a lot of talent, but Mikayel Mirzoyan is even better than Udo, in my opinion. So he would have to start with Gare Muradyan, in my opinion.
All right, so let's moving on to our next player, Chadens. Why don't you introduce us to Grenik Petrosyan?
Grenik Petrosyan. He's a center forward, second striker. He's born in 2001, so he's about 21 years old. Bukma, again, a player for Bukma, and Armenian National Team U21 level. His teammates of Mirzoyan at the club and national team level, as mentioned. He's the second best performer at both in terms of stats. So on loan from Punic, he's returning at the end of the season this summer. He's very cunning, slick and athletic forward. Short in stature, fast-paced, witty player, which is one of the attributes that I really admire in strikers. And he's a classic 4-9. So again, another attribute, again, something that it's not that we've been missing, but it's something that will be useful in the future. You guys can add something to that if you want. In 21-22 season of the Armenian Premier League, he scored 3 goals, assisted 1 in 1,140 minutes. So that sums up to 14 games. So that's one basically goal contribution in every 285 minutes. National team youth games stats are not available, but we do remember in one of the last games he assisted Narek Grigoryan for the final of the 1-2 loss versus Macedonia. Grenik came off the bench almost after halftime, and right before the final whistle, he snatched the ball off the Macedonian defender beautifully and handed it for Narek to score.
Drink some water. I got you. You said add to that.
Lol.
It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, it happens to everyone. Trust me. I think Grenik is like the average Armenian striker in terms of biotype. Like he reminds me a little to Edgar Manucharian, to Sarkiso, that kind of player. And usually what we could make the most of, even though lately we have been having like a trend of tall and strong built strikers in, say, Sako Adamian, Edgar Babayan, Norberto Palekian, Tico Parsechian and stuff. I think Grenik would be like a return to the basics in a way. And ideally, in a national team camp, we should have the like 2 alternatives in case we need either of them. You know, the big box guy and the short phone 9 type. Both alternatives.
Yeah, and one thing that I think is important to note is that, you listed a lot of these players that we have as center forward options, but most of the ones you listed aren't homegrown. And there's
Yeah.
been this like lack of proper talented Armenian strikers that come from
Yeah.
Armenia.
I
It's
think,
everyone that
you
we've
know,
tried just hasn't worked.
a player that, well, we can list a couple. I would say one striker, homegrown striker, that I would have liked uh, if he had more opportunities, and it's a little frustrating to see how his career one ended up, is Geramarutyunyan. He's some call him the emblem of Kapan because he spent most of his life, his professional career playing at Kansasar, but then when the team broke, he went to Noah. But in the middle, he, uh, aside from having some good individual performances even in European Cups for Kansasar, because of that European campaign, he went to Kazakhstan, if I'm not mistaken, to Shakhtar Karaganda, and he did good too. But sometimes this happens to Armenian players that they don't feel comfortable abroad and go back to Armenia. And it's not an uncommon phenomenon within Armenian grown players. And this was one of those cases. And he's like super tall, and uh, he's like a stereotype in the good way, And he could have done so much better. He went to the national team a couple times. It's not like we don't have the talent. I don't know, man. I just hope Grenik can make it.
Yeah,
He's Misha's second man.
and it's important to note that he's the type of player he works a lot better with creative wingers. He's not like you're not going to be crossing to him. He's not a
No,
target
exactly.
man. He's a player that you as a
He's a corner.
midfielder are going to want to make 1-2s with, to
He's
find
very
him making a diagonal run. You're going to want to keep the ball
exactly
on the ground, foot to foot.
exactly,
That's how you want to play.
which is historically the Armenian way.
Historically, yeah, but lately we've just been crossing all
Yeah.
the time for no reason, and we're like, our people are like 5'6".
That's why I'm telling you. In a way, Grenik is like the one of those players that can be an example of returning to the basics.
Yeah, and it would
You
be great
play
to see.
with him. Yeah.
So we hope to see him get an opportunity soon, especially considering in the striker position right now we are lacking this type of center forward that can play in this style. We don't have it. So it would be nice and refreshing to see. Moving on to our third player, this is one that I personally really like him as a
That's all
player.
you, baby. That's
It's
all you.
Narek Grigoryan. He was born in 2001. He's an Urartu Academy product, and he currently plays and is the captain of the Armenian under-21 national team. He is 1.8 meters tall, so he's not too short, not too tall. He's kind of just in that right. He has the haircut of a 90s Barahanta singer.
Yeah. Can we
And
talk about that haircut?
yeah, it literally looks so like vintage.
Jeez. It's like
Um,
a young Armenian, healthy Maradona
yeah, that's a good
from
healthy
the
is
80s.
the key word. Um,
But he plays good. Like
let's get
his
he
bad taste in haircuts does not mirror the way he plays, luckily.
yes. In the 21-22 season so far in the Armenian Premier League, he has 4 goals and 1 assist in 1,020 minutes. That's a goal contribution per 205 minutes. That's almost 1 goal or assist per game, per 2 games, excuse me. His national team youth stats are kind of sporadic because not only do we not have all the information, but he hasn't played that much for some of the youth
True.
games. For the under 17, he doesn't have a goal or an assist in 250 minutes. That's 3 games that we know of. And that season, the Armenian under 17 just got demolished. In under 19 in official games, he has 1 goal in 400 minutes, and that goal was versus Turkey. It's also important to note that 3 of these games were in the elite round that Armenia hosted and shared in a group with Italy, Spain, and Portugal. If you recall, there was
So
that under 19 Euros. So that was never going to end well.
Exactly. That explains why he didn't score that much for the U19.
Exactly. And in the under 21 for official games, and this is where he starts to deliver and just show his character. He has 2 goals and 1 assist in 540 minutes, 7 games, 3 of which he was captain. That's a goal or an assist every 180 minutes. Are you guys starting to see a pattern here? That these are all players that are contributing on a regular basis at every level that they are playing at, not only at their youth national team levels, but also at the club level. It's a little pattern that we're building here. In the senior, he has already made his debut for the senior Armenian national team under Joaquin Caparros, who stated previously that he has a lot of hopes placed in him, but he won't rush him, knowing that he's still a key member of the under-21 national team side, like Aghajanyan. After all, that is JC's specialty, and one of the main topics in his first press conference revolved around when he was announced as Armenian coach is youth development. He was subbed versus Macedonia and Germany in the November window. When both games were already over, he played about 15 minutes in each game. Let's open the floor up to you guys. Let's start with you, Chadens. Narek Grigoryan. We have seen him more than most other players in this list, if not the most out of any player in this list. What are your thoughts on him?
Well, that's a big part of what you said, that we've seen him play most than others. So in a way, we could trust him more to be featured more on a national team scale level. But the thing is, these kind of players need to grow further. I mean, they are stars, but they need to grow further in their club. They need to develop more for the long term.
And it helps for a player like Narek. He regularly features for Urartu. I mean, he's starts almost every single game. He is a regular person that, he's always involved because of his position as an attacking midfielder. He's always involved in the build-up to almost every goal that Urartu score. He is already showing to be a very key part of a domestic club in Armenia that we think is very important because of the youth development that they provide. Armen, what are your thoughts on Narek?
He's clearly a late bloomer in youth national team system, but sometimes that's how things go, and the important thing is that ultimately they do grow, and Narek did grow and is growing, and we know JC, aka not Jesus Christ, we mean JC Joaquin Caparros, of course. Thank you. He's not going to be rushed into the national team. As you said previously, Narek has been jumping back and forth for the national team, the senior national team, and that's how it's going to be for the season, in my opinion, too, hopefully. And Urartu attack, you mentioned Urartu attack. That's very interesting because they got Narek, they got Grenik Petrosyan that we mentioned today because he was in Football Kentron Future Stars previously, and Urartu attacks finally crowned with another 4-9, which is Artur Miranyan, that did play well at the friendly window. You guys remember against Croatia in Sweden, I think, and that's why I was like talking about we do have 4-9s like Grenik Petrosyan. So that's on the one hand. About Narek again, Narek Grigoryan, he had some interest from abroad during this current transfer window from Western Europe, specifically Belgium, supposedly. but nothing ended up happening. Also, interest from Russia, which so far didn't happen either. In a way, that's not bad, not entirely bad. There's not going to be lacking offers from abroad.
Yeah, he's definitely another one to look out for. Hence why he's on this list, right? Next up is a player that has recently been in our newsfeed lately. We talked about him a lot. It's Aventis Aventisian, who is a left back born in 2002, who currently plays for Go Ahead Eagles in the Dutch Eredivisie. He is an active member of the Armenian community in Saloniki, northern Greece, where he grew up. He was a Greece under 17 national team starter for 2 years. Also played in a competitive tournament with the youth national team. He has trained with the Armenian youth squad once, so he's very much on the federation's radar, and he has represented both Greek and Armenia in the youth realms, and he's represented by Greek and Armenian agents. So it's very much a split down the line with this kid. He played in the UEFA Youth League in 2020 and 21. They lost all 3 games. After that, PAOK let him go to the Dutch Eredivisie. He signed a 2.5-year-long contract with Go Ahead Eagles that's fighting to stay in the top flight. But either way, even if they do end up getting relegated, they're quick to get back up to the top tier, so it's not that big of an issue. In terms of national team, his last appearance was captaining the Greece under-17 side in 2019. He has not called to the Greece under-19s, but considering the latest developments, he might be called to the Greece under-21 side or Armenia senior men's national team. It's up to him to decide. The bottom line is that in Greece, he'll always be below the pecking order as they have a surplus of fullback depth, and we don't use that term lightly. I mean, they have fullbacks playing.
Premier League.
Premier League. Yeah, 2 of them are in the Premier League. They're already playing at such a high level in their early to mid 20s. So with Armenia, I think he is almost, if not a shoo-in, to be starting right away. If not second string, all the while having enough healthy competition for the left back spot. As you know, Aghajanyan, we have Arman Hovhannisyan instead of Grigoryan. It would be good for us and possibly Tiknisian, but that's something we'll leave for another day. He was captain of PAOK's under-19 at the UEFA Youth League last season also, and he is all around a solid defender. He can play left back, left wing back, contributes attackingly, solid in defense, and he's young, and he is already a player in a European. Would you consider the Netherlands to be top 5, or would it be top 7?
Maybe top 10.
Top 10. Okay,
Yeah, top 10.
Within a top 10.
It's too hard to count now which one.
Yeah, there's a lot of leagues. All right,
but his CV is good.
He is good, and he comes from a good system, from the PAOK system. Obviously, he was good enough, despite I don't think he had made a senior appearance for PAOK yet, and it was purchased by Go Ahead Eagles despite that. So he clearly is showing a lot of promise. Ottoman, you've been following Aventisian for a while. Give the listeners a little bit more background on him as a player and his style and what we can expect from him, and whether or not you think he will end up playing for Armenia.
He is clearly talented. He's clearly top-notch. Otherwise, a Dutch team wouldn't have gotten a 19-year-old because, as everyone knows, and as everyone who has been listening to us knows, Dutch football's specialty is raising players, homegrown or not, like Dutch or not. They take players from all over the globe at their young age, raise them basically at their academies, and they end up going to top 5 leagues every season. It's like an export of the Netherlands by now. So that's what's gonna happen to Aventis. But clearly, he's kind of unlucky for him at the moment because he is second/third string sub for left back after the captain of Go Ahead Eagles. which happens to be their left back, Bas Kuipers. So he's clearly not gonna play much for the next 2 seasons. But ultimately, for Armenia, that's good because he's gonna be benched and raised to. It's not like they're gonna bench him and leave him be. He's gonna have like a great growing up program. He's gonna turn out to be even greater. He's great. His technical ability is great. He's basically with a youth league. That's all you need to know. He's more than good enough to play for us. But even then, right now he would be second string below Jiran Markanyan, who is gonna be a starter for a Ukrainian side that's playing mid-table right now. But then again, that's way more appealing than being fourth or fifth or even sixth string for Greece. I see Greece for him being much more of a long shot than Armenia. So right now, it's just going to be about seeing him and watching him grow up and hopefully get like a little Eredivisie playtime here and there.
Yeah, I think if he gets if he gets even a little Eredivisie playtime,
that's what everyone can hope for.
He should be. He's more than good enough to be starting for Armenia, no question, in my opinion.
The Eagles should go ahead and play him.
Yeah, they should. I mean, we're waiting.
Nice one. Okay, I'll hand it to him.
All right, Chadens, do you have anything to add about Aventisian?
Speaks the language.
Not something specific, but he's on a good path.
Yeah.
He's on a good path.
He definitely has good people around him advising him, which is good. It's
a good environment. It's a good environment. Netherlands, he's lucky to be in a Dutch environment, and hopefully he grows from
there's another Greek. There's another Greek playing at Go Ahead Eagles, so it's like adaptation is not going to be bad for him.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of going abroad, this next player is also abroad. His name is Rene Aghajanyan. He is an attacking midfielder born in 2003, and he plays for Kaiserslautern in Germany and the Armenian under-19 national team.
Bro, he's got the sickest name ever.
I know, Jean Rene Aghajanyan.
It's like perfect name, perfect surname mashed together.
Unlike Aventisian, he is an Armenian diaspora who already plays or represents Armenia on the international level. He was born in Strasbourg, France, although historically German, grew up on the other side of the border and holds German citizenship. He's a good team player with top-notch technical abilities and already shows notable professionalism at a young age. His skills, biotype, physically and technically gifted. He's got everything that it takes to make it. He's been in the Kaiserslautern youth system since 2017. He was promoted to Kaiserslautern 2 at 18, so the club clearly intends to keep him for the senior squad, sparring an eventual backup. This season has been a little bit irregular for him, with injuries getting in the way of getting consistent game time, but his performances have been increasingly significant for his team. He starts mostly on the bench, but he comes off the bench a lot, playing at the number 10 or out wide on the right wing. For Kaiserslautern 2 in 2021, he has 1 assist in 530 minutes, about 11 games, appearances off the bench. And last year he played only 3 full games, but the good news is all 3 of them came in late October and early November. So clearly he is showing a lot of promise and a lot of good signs at the club level, and the club intends to keep him. But unfortunately, as we know, injuries can be really difficult, especially for a young player. So as long as that's being managed well, he should be fine. He is in constant communication with the FFA, which shows faith in him going pro. And he's only played about 60 minutes for the Armenia under-19 national team in a 4-0 loss versus Lithuania in September of 2021. He played really well, but he got injured right at the game and missed the whole month of football afterwards. So naturally, Kaiserslautern didn't let him join the U19s after that incident. So he couldn't be part of that team that made the elite round in Croatia, unfortunately. Hopefully his club will let him join the elite round, and it can be a win-win for everyone because it would give him, really good experience at the international level, playing at a high competitive level, while also, benefiting his club career at Kaiserslautern because he is an international player at such a young age. Boys, let's open this up to the floor, to whoever wants to take it first. Rene Aghajanyan, thoughts?
I will start off with the last thing you said, so I don't forget. It's a win-win, yeah, because not just because he's gonna be an international player, but mostly because he will go back to his club having picked up minutes and fitness, and I think that's something he really needs right now. But then again, there's the possibility of getting injured, as happened for the national team under 29 under 19. So, but yeah, I think it's more good than bad, and it's gonna be the elite round. Come on, it's not like you're gonna play some minnows. You're gonna play the best. That's great experience. That's on one hand, and on the other hand, I was gonna talk about something I forgot. Oh yeah, about his actual performance. I really, really like how this kid plays. Uh, not much to say there. He's even better than APL right now. As like at 19, he's better than most APL players, and like mostly by far.
Challenge, what are your thoughts on our very cool named attacking midfield option?
I'm not very sure which players where that have roots from Kaiserslautern, but I'm sure there are several.
You're right.
So,
And one of them is one I was hinting about, which the audience will find out in the next episode. But you're absolutely right. There are many Armenians that have been Kaiserslautern Academy products.
Well, not just Armenians, I meant in general. But yeah, there are many, and this is something good. It's good that he's in the again, just like the Dutch league, the German environment is a very good one for development, although there are many factors obviously that can change that. But in the meantime, we should be excited for another Armenian who's developing and learning from one of the elites.
Yes. Hopefully he continues to make this progress within his club, and unlike other Armenians who have gone through the German youth system, who've jumped around from fifth division, sixth to the fourth, third, Bundesliga 2, and eventually the Bundesliga.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's the type that can rise up with a single club. That's true.
Sometimes
that is true. But
that jumping up, and yeah,
it's also refreshing to see a club willing to invest in their youth, not caring about whether that youth is going to play for the German national team or not. They don't. Kazakhstan clearly doesn't care about that because this guy already plays for Armenia regularly. So hopefully Aghajanyan can, in terms of his health and fitness wise, stay at a good level, and maybe be a future contribution to the Armenian national team. And last but not least, Ottoman, I'll let you read this one, is Pavel Gorelov, a defensive midfielder, very rare for Armenians, born in 2003, who plays for Rostov in Russia and is also already an Armenia under-21 national team player. Tell us a little bit more about Gorelov.
Yes, sir. Yes, Adam, exactly. We are closing up with the big guns. We just closed with Jean Rene, and now we're closing with Pavel Gorelov. The audience, everyone, you guys, everyone knows on the one hand, I'm all about defense because that's how you win divisions like UEFA Nations League Division C, as we won last year or the year before, I don't remember. But the important thing is football is not just about scoring goals. It's also and mostly about defense. On the one hand, there's that. On the other hand, if you listen to the show regularly, you're going to pick up that lately the Armenian national team, especially over this last semester, has been clearly, and I mean clearly, lagging on their defensive mid area. And well, Pavel is exactly that. Is exactly what we've been looking for. And lately, we have been having some players that can relate to Pavel's playstyle. But Pavel is way younger, so he's a future star. Defensive mid, as we mentioned, born in 2003, which makes him 20. No, my bad. My maths are awful, but I think it's 19 years old. He is from Rostov, and at 19 years old, he plays for Armenia under 21. So you can get the idea that he's better, definitely by all accounts, than his age gap, uh, which is funny in a good way. As we said, he's a Rostov City boy through and through, grew up there, born there. He's all about Rostov. You may pick up from his last name that his dad is Russian, but his mom is Armenian. So they're basically a proud Armenian family that are super involved in the Armenian community in Rostov, which is something we love to highlight. They actually visited Armenia several times, even before Pavel joined the youth national team system of Armenia. So it's not like they're all of a sudden Armenian. That's nice, a nice change of air. As we said, he's a defensive mid, so we're gonna need him going pro ASAP, which we know he is. And here's why. On the one hand, his background is lately he's been Rostov U19 captain, and their team, so you can get a reference, is a heavyweight in their category, in their division. He leads that heavyweight. Like, he's not a starter, he's not a sub, he's the captain of a division leader, of a league leader. So all of this basically earned him a starting spot in the Rostov senior squad a couple of years ago, 2020, when COVID started. You guys remember, this is a funny note. Khorik Bayramian, our very own Khorik, was the Russian Premier League first case of COVID back in 2020. Right after that, Rostov had to play a mix between seniors and youth, and Pavel was one of the youth. And he played okay. They did lose by a wide margin, but the important thing is that he had his Russian Premier League debut. Despite it's been so far his only senior game, Russian Premier League at league level, he did sign a contract with Rostov, with the club, that runs until 2024. And of course, he's probably gonna extend and go for the sale once he makes regular senior squad. He is currently included only for Rostov's cup games, which is pretty big. I mean, it's not league, as you know from our previous shows, that always league games are more important than cup games, but cup games themselves are important as they are. Hopefully he will soon make that breakthrough to RPL bench, but so far so good. He's on the right path, as Charan said. His Russian Premier League under 19 record for this season has been of 3 goals and 3 assists in 1,600 minutes over 18 games, which would make a total of 1 goal participation every 270 minutes. Basically, 1 goal or assist every 3 games guaranteed, which is great for a defensive-minded defensive mid. It's not like he's a creative central mid or defensive mid. No, he's like all about defense, and even then, he has scoring and assisting stats. At Armenia U19, he's only played 2 games so far in October 2021, the friendly camp against Qatar. He has had 1 goal in 140 minutes, which is also a an amazing sample of what he can provide for national teams. I think is great. I love this guy. There's always with Russian, dual citizens, Armenian Russian or Russian and any ethnicity, any minority. But we're Armenian, so that's what matters to us. There's that nuance that they might get frozen because they choose not to play for their homeland and they choose to play for their ancestors' land.
But
That's what may happen. But he's too good for that.
Not only is he too good for that, I think out of all the clubs in Russia, Rostov and Krasnodar have already shown a willingness to play because he's not the only one. I mean, we have Sergei Kochkanyan, who is a fullback. Well, I'm just speaking purely about Rostov. Sergei Kochkanyan plays for Rostov too, also with Gorelov, and we have Narek Manukyan, who is an 18-year-old left winger who also plays for Rostov, but also represents Armenia at youth. So in this Rostov second team, there are 3 Armenian eligible players, and all 3 already play for Armenia at the youth level.
Yeah, but Gorelov is clearly the best one of the 3.
Oh, for sure. Well, Kochkanyan is really good too. But yes.
Yeah, but it's different.
Despite that, I mean, he is playing consistently at the club for Rostov too, and he has already played for Armenia. I just can't see that that is not going to be an issue. I don't think, and I only say that because it is Rostov, and because he has already played for Armenia youth when he's not even a pro yet. I think it's going to be fine with him.
I mean, I think the difference here is the first part. The first part is that we're talking about Rostov and not one of the big Russian 5.
Yeah.
Rostov is clearly a very Armenian-related team like Krasnodar, and then we have had Aventis Aventisian that was frozen out for a bit and then broke through. I'm optimistic that now that you mention it, that maybe Pavel is gonna go through a very similar process like Spelzian's.
Yeah, and I hope so. I mean, I hope it's easier for him to just say. Well, I want to say I hope it's easier for him to just say I want to play for Armenia, but he already does. He's already played, so it's like he's already played at the youth level. So for me, it's good enough. I think he'll do it. Yeah.
Yep, I agree.
And like you said, if a player is good enough already, the club isn't going to give a shit of who they play for. All they're going to care is this guy good enough to make it to my first team? And if he is, let him do whatever he wants. Keep him happy because they want to keep him at the club, obviously.
Yeah, and then by now the Armenian players don't count as foreigner spots, taking up foreigner spots. So that's one problem off the table.
Yeah. So it's looking good. Chadin, do you have anything to add or discuss about Pavel Gorelov?
No, I think you guys summed it up. Overall conclusion is that we've got a lot of players which we wanted developments in. So positions like center defensive midfield, where we kept talking we kept discussing in our previous episodes that we need that kind of players in that role. We need a striker who's always consistent and in a different style of play, a new method of player. Fullbacks. We said a lot, especially some specific names, which I'm not going to mention because Armin will go on and on. So. In general, we've got players in specific positions that it's good to have and to use in the future, hopefully.
Yeah. And just to take it back from the top for our listeners, the players in Football Kentron Future Stars set number 3 include Mikayel Mirzoyan of Bekma, Grenik Petrosyan of Bekma, Narek Grigoryan of Urartu, Aventis Aventisian of Go Ahead Eagles, Rene Aghajanyan of Kaiserslautern, and Pavel Gorelov of Rostov. That is going to wrap it up for Football Kentron Future Stars set number 3. I think this is a great set. I look forward to whenever we have our next set of players, looking back at this one and saying, seeing where the levels of success and the degrees of success that these players have reached. In the next episode, we will wrap up all of the transfers as the transfer window will be closing, and we will discuss all of the news as usual and look forward to the March national team window. Also, side note, the Armenia futsal team will be competing in the World Cup qualifiers next week or so. I think it was March 8th was when their tournament started. So good luck to them. Hopefully they do well.
Yeah, April is when they're playing it's when for the World Cup it starts, the qualifiers. Mm-hmm. March, I believe, is friendly games. If I'm not mistaken, I'm not sure.
They just announced a friendly against Israel. I know that Armenia is going to play against Israel before, but it's going to be tough, man. They've made it this far. I mean, they had to qualify to get to the qualifier, so that's a good sign. Hopefully, Armenia
our futsal team is actually getting pretty decent. They're matching with the levels of other futsal national teams. That's a different story. Anyway.
Well, I mean, it is. They do kick a ball, and they are Armenian, so we are going to talk about it.
Yeah, if we have people, game.
Look, if we get a few people, if we grow our page, let's make a challenge with our audience. If our pages grow rapidly in the next few weeks, let's say, and we get DMs saying that we want some futsal, not an episode, but like a short discussion, I'll do it.
Yeah, there you go. There's a challenge.
Me talk about futsal. Yeah, good.
Hey, not only challenge. I played futsal for like 5 years at the club level. We got some futsal knowledge on this show.
I'll try to get someone as well live. I'll try my best. We'll see.
We'll have like a parallel show called Football Kentron.
Futsal Kentron.
Imagine.
Just for a quick refresher, for those who have literally no idea what we're talking about, in the FIFA Football World Cup 2024 preliminary round, Armenia was placed in Group C with Kosovo, Bulgaria, and Scotland, and Armenia made it. I'm just letting listeners know what we're talking about, man. Armenia qualified for the next round in group, whatever group are they in? They're in group. This is wild, man. They don't put anything on this website. Anyway, I think it's like Denmark and like Israel or some shit like that. We're looking forward to it. It's gonna be good.
I mean, in all seriousness, jokes aside, which is difficult for me. Even though I don't like futsal as a game, I respect the fact that they're Armenian national team, and B, they're doing very, very well and representing us great. So kudos to them. Hats off on that regard.
Yeah,
but I don't like that game.
There we go. That wraps it up for this edition of Futsal Kentron. Now back to Football Kentron, where we are also wrapping up this show. Thank you for listening, everyone. If you don't already, please follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Subscribe, like, share, all that jazz. Help us reach 1,000 followers on Twitter, man. We're almost there. Just do it. Press follow. If you listen to us, you don't follow us.
We got the memes.
Well, yeah, we have good memes. We have funny
Please
content.
help us on Instagram, please.
Yeah, follow us on Instagram too, please. It's like the third account we have, and
we got the memes.
After someone me.
And if you don't, if you don't already know, we have an Instagram partnership with Armenian Sports Network that was just announced.
They're awesome.
They're awesome. Go follow them if you don't. Also follow the Bryant and Me podcast for all of your Zelarayan related news. Shout out to them because they're cool. They're very fun people. And
they're arguably funnier than us. Arguably. Some would say.
All right, that wraps it up for Football Kentron. Thank you for listening. We will see you in a couple weeks. Bye.
See ya. Yeah.